welding. It's a continuous welding process where you will be using, instead of a tipped electrode, you will be using a disc electrode, right? A disc electrodes will be continuously squeezing the two workpieces. To that electrodes only you will give the connection. You will connect it to the transformer. Now we'll see the diagram and then I'll explain it. Right. So this is resistance seam welding. In your small answer questions, your short answer questions, they are asking you to differentiate spot welding and seam welding. In spot welding, you can only weld in spots in a single spot, right? Whereas in seam welding, you can join the two sheets. You can continuously join the two sheets by using a wheel, called a wheel, which is connected to a motor. So this wheel will be rotating on to this workpiece. To this, you will be connecting it to the current, the transformer current supply, AC power supply, right? So this will be sliding on to the workpiece and it will join the workpiece because of resistance created over the current flow, right? So that's the name called resistance seam welding. Here you can see how the welding is done between the two sheet metal plates, right? So this is called stitch welding. Whereas in the rolled welding, just I'm telling you the examples how they use when they use this wheel. When they use this wheel, they can do the stitch welding and roll welding. Okay. So resistance seam welding is a continuous spot welding where you will be using a disc electrode, and this electrodes are made up of copper and it is in wheel shape, right? So these wheels are this are connected to the rotated with the motor and it is connected to the current supply. So you will be given a pulsed AC supply, right? So pulsed AC supply, what it will happen, only it will weld at a regular intervals of time, right? So you will get a continuous joint, and the time taken for the seam welding is very less when compared to the spot welding. In spot welding, you have to first adjust the workpiece and then it should be in contact. All those hold time or whatever the squeeze time will be very less in seam welding, right? So coming to the time point of view, resistance seam welding will be faster when compared to spot welding, right? Advantages: leak-proof joint. Leak-proof joints you can do by using resistance seam welding, and it is independent with respect to weld time and the electrode speed. It is independent, both the speed of the wheel and the weld time, both are independent, right? Then disadvantages is it can only weld up to 5 mm, right? So and here the current, you will send a more current and the pressure will be more when the in steam welding, the current supply and the pressure you apply by the disc will be more when compared to the spot welding, right? And you will have an indentation marks. The indentation marks are more in resistance seam welding. Coming to the applications, it can weld MS, mild steel, aluminum, magnesium, and nickel alloys, watertight tanks, the flanges in the watertight tanks, and the pipes and fabrication of the tanks are done by resistance seam welding, right? Your utensils, right? There is an utensil with me now. I'll show you after this session. I'll show you how they are done the spot welding to that utensil. Okay, we'll see how it is done by spot welding technique. The next third resistance welding and the resistance welding process is projection welding, right? So first we'll see the diagram. This is the upper electrode and this is the lower electrode, and this is the workpiece, and this is the sheet which I want to weld onto this workpiece. Okay, so you can see there is a groove here. That are the grooves which are done by embossing technique. We have seen this embossing technique in sheet metal operations, right? So first what they will do, they will emboss a groove, or they will bend a groove onto the sheet, and to the sheet they will fix the fixed electrode and the movable electrode. So now this electrode will press the two sheets which I want to join, and now the current is passed due to the resistance over the current. This projection or this groove will only touch this the bottom workpiece, and you will get the nugget, right? It is same like spot welding, but in spot welding you were having the you were fixing the workpiece between the two copper electrodes, and you were concentrating only on the single spot. But here you can avoid those contact surfaces, and by simply creating the embossed projection, only at this projections only you will have the welding process, right? So you can see only there are two nuggets at these two locations. Previously there were grooves here, so after the force is applied from the electrodes and the current is passed, you are getting the two nuggets at these two grooves. So this is resistance projection welding. You are first making the projection, and then you are doing the welding. So that's the name, projection welding, resistance projection welding. That now we'll see the working principle of resistance projection welding. Right? In spot welding and seam welding, the current concentration is achieved by the shaping of electrode, or when you are putting the two electrodes in contact, then there was an interface. But here the interface of the two workpieces are created by projections, right? So these projections are raised onto the surface of the workpiece either by embossing techniques, and these projections are pressed, and you will apply the current and the pressure simultaneously, right? So up to 6 projections you can weld at a time in resistance projection welding, and it is a very quick process when compared to spot and seam welding, right? So this is the diagram before welding, and this is the diagram after welding, right? Please have a look of it. Advantages, because of giving the pre interfaces, or pre interfaces is nothing but you are giving the projections before itself, so the life of the electrode will be high when compared to spot and seam welding, right? And here you will not have an electrode mark, right? Where when you were doing the spot welding, you were getting a mark on the sheet, right? So that marks are avoided as you are giving a pre-interface, or you can talk it as a synonym. You are giving a projection, so right. So that's why you are not having any marks on any marks which are created by electrodes, right? So less chances of distortion, and it is suitable for thick materials. As you are giving a proper projection before itself, you will have a proper heat balance, right? And it is suitable if you for more spots at a time, right? Then disadvantages is the, again you have to do embossing technique, so the cost is more, right? So as it is of two process at a time, embossing and then welding, right? So prior operation is needed, and it is only suitable for strong materials. Copper, brass are not suitable for the projection welding. Okay, and one example, one application of resistance spot welding is your car cabin casing. The car cabin casing are welded with resistance projection welding, right? Coming to upset welding. Upset welding and upset welding, flash welding, and this percussion welding. If I wanted to join a butt joint or an edge to edge joint, I'll go for upset welding, right? So upset welding is also called as butt welding. Okay. Now we'll see. I'll just first compare. I'll just show you the diagram now. Then I will compare. I'll explain what is upset welding, and then I will compare it with the flash welding. Then you will understand it very easily. Right? See this diagram. This is the workpiece. Right? This is the first workpiece one and workpiece two. You can see these two workpieces are rods, right? This is not a sheet metal, it is a rod, right? There is a clamping device here. So first what I will do, I will fix these two workpieces to the clamping device, right? So one will be stationary clamp and the other you can move it, right? One will be fixed and other one will be movable, right? So in butt welding or in upset welding, you will first allow these two workpieces to join, right? When these two workpieces are slowly you when these two workpieces slowly will make in contact with each other. So when they are in contact with each other, you will get a collision, or you can simply talk in normal language. When you apply the two workpieces slowly, when you allow it to touch each other, the material will start transferring. There will be a transferring medium between these two workpieces, right? So now first what I will do in step one, I will fix these two workpieces to the two clamping device. Then I will slowly make these two in contact with each other by either you can use impact loading or you can use slow loading, right? You can use you can use what say you can use cam mechanism to allow in order to make the two rods to touch each other. In step 3 what I will do, I will send the current, I will send the AC power supply to these two rods, right? Now when I'm sending the AC power supply to the already joined or to the already joined workpiece, the current will pass to the joined workpiece, and due to the resistance, these two pieces will fuse and it will create a joint, or you can these two pieces will fuse and it will form a single rod, right? So in upset welding, I will send the current before the joint. First, I will join the workpiece. I will allow it to touch each other. Then I will send the current because of the resistance towards the AC current supply. This joined contact pieces will fuse each other and it will form into a single rod. That is upset welding, right? So in flash welding, what will happen? Flash welding, first uh, you will send the current to in this you will send the current first, and then you will allow it to contact. It is reverse of this, right? Flash welding, you in flash welding you will send the current first, you will allow the AC power supply. After allowing the AC power supply, here you can see there is an arc generated here, right? Arc which is generated between the gap. The gap is getting ionized here, right? After the gap is getting ionized, immediately you will join it within fraction of seconds. After the current is passed, the heat will be generated due to the resistance towards the current flow. So when the heat is generated, you will get a spark which is the spark which is generated at this gap, right? When this spark will start, you will immediately join it, or you will immediately put it in contact between these two. You will put these two rods in contact with each other, and as it is in contact, as the molten metal is fusing between the two contact surface, it will form as a single rod, right? So in order to remember the difference between the butt welding and flash welding, you will send the current first, and you will allow it to create an arcing effect, and then you will join the workpiece. Whereas in butt welding, you will join the workpiece and then you will send the current. By this, you can conclude in butt welding, you can only weld very small rods, very thin rods you can do. It is it is limited as you are sending the current later, but here you are giving an arcing effect and then you are allowing it to join. So this is meant for larger rods or larger bars. You can join it in flash welding, whereas in butt welding it is limited to small work pieces only, right? So that's the difference between flash and butt. In order to remember, there is a, I'm just telling you flash. F F F is the first letter. So current I'm sending it first. So current first F slash but F. So F F. So remember it in that way. Flash welding, you will send current first, you will do the arcing effect and then you will join it. So current first, F. Flash welding, F. In butt welding, you will send the current later. You will first contact, you will allow it to put the two metals in contact and then you will send the current later, right? So that's the way you have to remember the difference between butt welding and flash welding. Both are same, both will do the edge to edge contact, but it is limited to the sizes. Butt welding is only for the small rods. Flash welding you can do large rods, bars, etc. Right? Then we'll see what is precussion welding. Precussion welding is also the same as flash butt welding, and in some the both the machines look same. Machines look same, but the clamping systems are different in flash welding and butt welding, right? But in precussion welding, you will give a DC power supply. Here the diagram is wrong. You will give a DC supply by having a rectifier. Rectifier is the one which will convert the AC supply to the DC supply. And here in precussion welding, the same concept, you will weld the two edges, but here you will the precussion. It is a very precussion. The meaning of precussion is a rapid. Meaning of precussion is a rapid, anything which we do rapidly, very instantly, very fastly, it is called as in a precussion welding. So in precussion welding, the same, you will have the clamping system, you will have the current supply, but you will have a rectifier, you will have an AC supply, and you will have a DC supply. And to that, you will have a capacitor which will smoothen the DC supply, right? So when I'm sending, then in precussion welding, first you will send the DC power supply to the workpiece, right? So you will get an high intensified discharge of electrons. As you are using the DC, you will get a negatively charged ions onto the workpiece. So this high intensified discharge of electrons will start melting the workpiece, and it will, what it will happen, it will melt these two rods, and the melted part will ooze out, it will move out and it will join the two rods, right? So the melting section here in precussion is very rapid. It will be in within a fraction of seconds, right? As you are sending a DC power supply, there will be a more amount of the discharge of electrons here, right? So this discharge of electrons will allow the molten metal to ooze out, and it will form as a step, or it will form as a extruded part. The extruded molten metal will be joining these two rods. That's the precussion welding, right? So precussion welding is similar to upset welding and flash welding. Here you will use an high intensified arc which will melt the two rods, and the molten metal will be it will squeeze the two rods and it will fuse the material and it will create it into a single rod, right? So this is meant for wires to join the wires, rods, tubes, etc. Right? So this is precaution welding. So we had seen flash welding, right? We had seen upset welding or butt welding. So here you can see how the welding is done between the two edges of the rod, right? So I had said you how to remember the difference between butt welding and flash welding also. Then we had discussed resistance seam welding, resistance projection welding, and resistance spot welding. So all these will come under resistance welding category. So the first three are for the first two are for the lap joints. Projection welding is if you have any projection, you can weld it through projection welding. Right? If I want to do the edge to edge contact or the butt joint, I'll go for upside flash welding. If I want to do a rapid, very intensified within a second, then I'll go for precursion welding where I'll be using a DC power supply. Right? So this comes under resistance welding. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Ma'am, in precaution welding,
Yes.
uh, the high DC current will be there, ma'am.
Yes.
So there will be some deposition type will be there on the welding
Yes, you
weld
will get
material.
you will get a deposition. I said right that molten metal you will get a you will get a groove or a step sort of thing. Again, you have to do the finishing method to remove that. Again, you have to do the finishing technique in precaution welding. Whereas in flash and butter welding, you will not get such grooves. Just only surface to surface contact will occur. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Precaution welding they will do for strong materials, but whereas in upset flash welding they will do only for the small rods or wires or the tubes. Okay. If you want to avoid this step type, you can go for friction welding. Tomorrow we'll see friction welding. There you can avoid this step or the oozing of this molten metal. There you will have a less pressure, whereas here you are supplying heat and pressure also, right? And one thing I forgot to say, in upset welding and flash welding, to make this material to make these two rods in contact with each other, you will be one is fixed and the other one is movable. I said right there are two clamping, one is fixed and other one is movable. Here I'll show you. Wait. Yes, one is stationary and other one is movable, right? When you are putting it in contact with this rod surface, you have to apply a certain amount of pressure, right? So based on the application of pressure also, the flash or whatever the joint is dependent. It is dependent on the current and the pressure. Please do remember, the resistance welding is dependent on the amount of the current which you send and the amount of the pressure which we apply in order to create the nugget between the two different surfaces. Okay. Can I go to the forge welding? Can I go to the forge welding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we'll see the two types of welding process under solid state welding, that is forge welding and explosion welding. So forge welding is a oldest technique where you will be heating the material. In the forging also you were heating the metal and you were applying the pressure by hammer, isn't it? And the forging is an operation where you will heat the workpieces to deform the shape. It's a technique under metal forming technique in your unit 5. So you were heating the workpiece and you were heating with the hammer in order to get the shape. That's the same technique in the forge welding, where here you will heat the two parts which you want to join. You will heat it below the solidus temperature, and you will apply simultaneously. You will apply pressure in order to join, in order to create a fusion joint, right? So you will heat the material below the solidus temperature and you will apply pressure, that is called as a forced welding, right? So in the forged welding is mostly meant for ferrous alloys. So here, as you are heating the metal at below the solidus temperature, you will get an oxide layer formation. So one main defect of forged welding is this oxide layer. It will be in contact with the heat affected zone and it will alter the mechanical properties of the workpiece, right? Whereas in your TIG, MIG, and other welding process, you were using a shielding methods and you were using a coating techniques and you were using some alloying techniques. Whereas in forged welding, you cannot avoid this oxide layer to be in interface with the welded joint. So in order to avoid this oxide layer, you can even coat the workpiece which I want to join. You can coat it with the flux material and then you can heat it below the solidus temperature and you can apply the pressure. So to avoid this oxide layer, you can coat it with the flux coating and then you can heat it and you can join it. It's just a heating process and then applying the pressure from the other side, that is force welding. Whereas in resistance welding, in order to create the heat, you were using the current flow. Whereas in this force welding, you are not using that current and all, just you are heating it in a certain temperature and then you are applying the pressure in order to fuse it. So it's an oldest technique, force welding, right? So the flux materials which they coat, it depends upon the material. Generally, the flux materials are borax, silica, sand. Okay, and I said right, based on the materials, they give the flux coating. If I'm using a low carbon steel, as low carbon steel, this oxide layers will melt out even at a lower temperature, right? So there is no need of flux coating. Whereas for the stainless steel or for SS, you will give the flux coating and then you will heat it and you will apply the pressure. This is forge welding, very simple. Heating and applying the pressure where you wanted to join, then you will get the joint which you want to create. That is forge welding. So advantages is less residual stresses and you will have high strength, right? As you're not having the strength of the heat affected zone is not much altered here. Where when you compare the TIG or MIG, the HAZ, the location of the molecules are moving away, right? In the welded zone, the location will be very tight enough. Whereas in heat affected zone, what will happen? It will start dislocating, right? When the molecules are dislocating or moving apart, the mechanical properties are less, or the joint at the joint, the strength will be more, whereas the neighbor area the strength will be less. But this you can avoid it, you can avoid it by using force welding. Okay, and this is very slow process and the quality depends upon the operator, the depends upon how much you are heating, how much the pressure you are applying, right? So it is more expensive process. Coming to the explosion welding, it is very simple. It's a no, it's a very simple. It's not a simple in the sense to it is easily understandable, but it is a very hazardous welding technique. Okay, as you are using an explosive material, first we'll see the diagram, then I'll explain you. Okay, so here I wanted to weld the two workpieces. This is the first workpiece and this is the second workpiece. I wanted to join it in the form of surface to surface contact. Till now, I was just joining edge to edge contact, but in explosive welding, I can join. I can clad two dissimilar metals or similar metals, similar plates, right? The application of explosive welding is two dissimilar metals also you can join it by explosive welding. So how it takes place is this the blue colored one, you call it as flyer. Okay. The sky blue colored plate, you call it as target plate. Okay. So this is first workpiece, second workpiece, first workpiece and second workpiece. On this first workpiece, I will spray the explosive material like TDT. We are seeing this explosive metal forming. The materials, examples of explosives are TDT, right? Dynamite powder, right? So this powders, what I will do, I will spray on to this first workpiece or the flyer. Then I will ignite. There will be a detonator here, so it will ignite slowly. This explosives will start. It will ignite and it will explode this workpiece. When it explodes this first flyer workpiece one, it will press the bottom workpiece. So because of this pressing, this whatever this two parent materials, because of the explosives, the heat will be generated. So because of the heat generated, because of having a surface to surface contact, this dark blue colored workpiece will slowly move downwards and it will overlap. It will have a surface to surface contact on the sky blue color workpiece, and it will join the two pieces, right? So because of the heat generated by the explosive, as this explosives will start from here and it will ignite and it will go till the edge, right? So when it is moving slowly, the inclined workpiece or the inclined first workpiece or the flyer will move downwards and it will tend towards the target workpiece, and it will join and it will fuse and it will form as a single workpiece. It will clad with this sky blue color, right? So that is explosive welding, right? It's the same. It's just like bombarding of a workpiece. They will bombard this explosive. So this explosives will travel, and you can even put a rubber sheet in order to have a less heat dissipation from the first workpiece to the second workpiece, and this rubber piece will melt out and you can remove the melted section. Ultimately, the in explosive welding, it is melt for surface to surface joint. It is not just a single joint, it is a surface to surface cladding of two similar and dissimilar metals. Now we'll see the explanation in this slide. In explosive welding, you will use the explosives RDX and TNT, and this TN explosive will will allow the first workpiece to bend on to the second workpiece, and the velocity here will be between 2.4 to 3.6 kilometers per second. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll see this again in the next class as the time is left over. Just 1 minute. We'll see it again. This is just a brief explanation of explosive welding. This is the standoff distance between the workpiece